Hello and welcome to the Let It Flow podcast. My name is Layi-Ojo and I'm excited to be with you today. I have a question for you. Do you fear your bread? Yes, you heard me. Do you fear your bread? Are you running away from what God has given you? Today, I want us to look at the story of the children of Israel when they were leaving bondage and going into the promised land. At some point, Moses sent, when they were getting close to Canaan, Moses sent 12 of them into the land to check it out. So they went into the land to see what it looked like, and then they brought the report back to the camp. And you would be shocked that even though God had given them the land, even though God had said that's their bread, the report they heard scared them so much that they began to be afraid of what God has given them. They began to be afraid of their bread. And I'm here to ask you today, are you running away from the same place that God has called you to dominate because of the challenges or because of the way things look like? Are you afraid of what God has given to you? Are you afraid of the scale of your inheritance? Is that the reason why you are not doing what God has called you to do? Let's look at the word of the Lord in Numbers chapter 13. I'll start from verse 26. And as we read, I want you to think about the things that God has placed in your heart. And I want you to think about the reasons why you're not doing what you know God has called you to do. Numbers 13:26. It says, then they, meaning the 12 people that Moses sent to spy the land, they came back to Moses and Aaron and to all the Israelite camp in the wilderness. And they brought them word and showed them the fruit of the land. They had gone into the land of Canaan, taken some of the fruits. They brought it and showed it to the people. In verse 27, then they told Moses, we came to the land to which you sent us. Surely it flows with milk and honey. This is the fruit. But the people who dwell there are strong, and the cities are fortified and very large. Moreover, we also saw men of Anak, men of great stature and courage. So pretty much they're scared of the scale of their inheritance. Are you scared of the scale of the dreams that God has put in your heart? Are you scared of the scale of the inheritance that God has given you? In verse 28, it says, verse 29, it says that even the Amalekites dwell there, and then he named all those other people that dwelled there. But in verse 30, Caleb, one of the 12, quieted the people before Moses and said, I don't know what you're talking about. Let us go up at once and possess it. We are well able to conquer it. I'm here to announce to you, you're well able to do what God has called you to do. You're well able to run that business. You're well able to do every single thing God has put in your heart. You are well able. Get up at once and go and take possession of what God has given you. That was what Caleb told them. It's like, stop all this bad news. Let's go up at once and take possession of it. But his fellow scouts, the other people, said, we are not able to go up, for they are stronger than we are. So they brought the Israelites an evil report of the land, which they had seen. The land through which they went and spied, they said, he devours his inhabitants. And all the people we saw in there are men of great stature. They're beginning to look down on themselves and get scared of what they saw. Now, this part is very interesting. The last verse of chapter 13, it says, we also saw giants there, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers. So we were in their sight. They're making an assumption that the way they saw themselves is the way the other people saw them, which is not true. Don't look down on yourself. Don't disqualify yourself. Do not do it. Trust the Lord on the inside of you. In chapter 14, it says all the congregation cried out with a loud voice and they wept all night. Pretty much they chose to believe the evil report. They got the two reports. Caleb told them the good news, the others told them the bad news, but they chose to believe the evil report and they wept all night. When you hear news, what do you naturally tend to believe, the evil report or the good report? In this case, they chose to believe the evil report and they wept all night. Now, Caleb and Joshua, so those are the two that brought the good report. They told them in chapter 14, verse 8, if the Lord delights in us, it will bring us into this land and give us the land that is flowing with milk and honey. The land is large, it's beautiful, and it's for us, and God will give it to us. And it says in verse 9, do not rebel against the Lord. Only do not rebel against the Lord. Fear the Lord only. Do not fear the people of the land. Do not rebel against the Lord, and do not fear the people of the land, for they are bread for us. They are bread for us. We eat that for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They are bread for us. Do not be afraid of what God has given you, your inheritance. It says their defense and the shadow of their protection is removed from them, but the Lord is with us. Fear not. I'm here to encourage you today. Fear not. Fear not. Don't be afraid of your bread. That thing you're afraid of is actually bread for you. That's what you're called to. You're called to it. You are called to reign in that domain. Do not be afraid of it. Do not be intimidated. Do not be intimidated by the giants. Do not be intimidated by the fruit of the land. Do not be intimidated by the scale of what you're seeing. It's because that's the scale of your inheritance. God has something huge for you. Don't let that intimidate you. They said here, they are bread for us. What you're running away from is bread for you. It's bread for you. So fear not. I'm here to encourage you today. Fear not. Fear not. Take the time to listen to God and be quiet. Listen to what He wants you to do, and then get up and do it. Obey God and leave all the consequences to Him. That was a quote by Charles Stanley. Obey God and leave all the consequences to Him. Rise up, fear not. Go take that mountain. It is bread for you. Imagine running away from your bread. It's like, no, that's my food. I eat that daily. You don't run away from your bread. You don't run away from your inheritance. You don't run away from the place of your calling because it looks hard or because it is hard. But God has given you all that you need, all that it would take for you to succeed. I'm here to encourage you. Fear not. Rise up and be all God has created you to be. It is well with you. I pray that God will grant you wisdom and God will grant you insights. You will know exactly what you need to do. But my friend, fear not. It's your bread. Have a great day.